happy to have started this talk show with one of the greatest songs ever, I'd say. Fortunately, he died a few years ago. David Bowie is a person who was brilliant in my point of view. And thank you, Tim, to being here today in the show to bring this song with you. First of all, welcome, Tim, here in the show. I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So, as I said, Professor Tim Bruysten, one of Germany's youngest founders at 17 and professors at 31, he spent over 25 years shaping identities, future visions, and transformation. And if we just step one step back to David Bowie, I love the song you sorted out. And for me, the strongest line is, "There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'll blow our minds." And I think this song is one song. I mean, many people are waiting for their life. They don't live it. You're living it, and you have been living it. And this song is for me an anthem of empowerment, urging people to embrace new possibilities, think beyond limitations, and welcome the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. And interestingly, we need this more than ever. Having digitization where everybody should think we are so close there, but we are so far away from this, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. I think not only in terms of digitization, but in embracing the possibilities technologies can offer us. Yeah, in solving humans challenges. Yeah, like fighting cancer or defeating climate change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, there's the starman is for me the symbol of a attractive future picture, a vision we share, and it's waiting where we just need to go there. But instead, we are often distracted by our nitty gritty, tiny, whatever
Yeah.
problems, and losing. We are often losing um, the focus on the big picture. Huh?
Yes, absolutely. I was a bit shocked and I want to share this. I mean, it's not planned, but I want to share this with you. Yesterday evening, I got a call from somebody and we stopped having contact just because of the daily things you are involved in. And we wanted to start something 3 years ago. It was about sustainable fashion and lifestyle packaging and so on. And there was a woman, she should have been involved in that, and she had many positions and companies where she did great, and she always wanted to found something on her own about fashion, lifestyle, sustainability, but she never did it, and. She told me her dreams about it, and it sounded so great. I said, "You are so great in storytelling. You should bring this to the ground. People need that." And she looked very eccentric. She had something to say. She had all things where you would say, "Hey, go, move on." And yesterday he called me, this guy called me and he said, "Do you know she died? She died a day ago." And I was shocked because she was beginner 50, I think. And she was depressed. She ended her life by herself. And I was really shocked because this is so extremely showing if somebody is not bringing his potential into life, where she could have done so much for herself and so much for others and could enlighten so much. And I felt so sorry yesterday. And I think a lot of people are missing this key. They have everything, but they don't know where this key is.
Yeah, and this is this is maybe not their own fault. Yeah, this is how we shape society,
Yes.
how we train our kids in school, how we encourage them to develop themselves, how we encourage them to think for themselves. And yeah, when you look into schools, how we create feedback, how we
Yeah.
yeah, how we talk about victories, how we handle losing situations, how we create community. Yeah, and we are so much driven by numbers and by processes and
Yeah.
by KPIs nowadays. Yeah, and so it's not surprising that people don't feel themselves anymore in a world driven by KPIs and not human values. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we should have learned so much from history, but it seems that we are newborns always and ever, and nothing changes. Um,
Yeah.
at, I mean, you say discovering future's beauty, that is my gift and my mission at
Yes.
all levels, from global markets and global society down to companies and local communities. We need shared, strong, and compelling ideas of possible futures that are worth giving all our all for. And this is great. And I mean, you were mentioning this. It is often, it seems, it is not the fault of the people, but in the end, um, they're in this game. What need to happen to open this to the other? What has to what needs to be done? I mean, it feels extremely wrong if you tell those people that it's not their fault, but anyhow,
Yeah.
you can't master it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, in the end, everybody has to play a different role. Yeah. There's and not and different role in society is important. Yeah. We
Mhm.
are a society where that's it. It's such a complex society. It's such a complex world we're living in. Not
Yeah.
everybody can do every job. But we need every kind of job. So,
Mhm.
I think we can start with recognizing the jobs that are mm, talked about as being not so necessary, like nurses, for an example. Yeah?
Mhm.
So they really earn what we owe them as a society? Yeah. So
Yeah.
um, and um, and yeah, when you're in a bad situation, yeah, like maybe your friend that took his life, yeah, or took her life.
Mhm.
Um, do we, as a society, what do we owe all the members of society to make society happen? Yeah, I
Mhm.
think I think this is a thought we are not thinking enough. Yeah, and this is a mindset we are not having. Yeah, so we are on the one hand side we are very much driven by competition, and that's fine. I don't want to replace this, but I want to add something. Yeah, competition can drive us forward, and competition can be as long as competition is within civilizatory boundaries, it's fine. Yeah? But we need to add something, and what we need to add is heart and minds of people, yeah, and respect for each other, yeah, and respect for also the small jobs, yeah. The people who care about that our cities are clean. Yeah? So imagine the world without that. We had this world, yeah, and this world was fundamentally different when the world we are having now.
Mhm.
Yeah, and um, like 100 years ago, it's not that far away. Our cities were stinking nightmares. Yeah, and we were dying from really bad diseases in
Yeah.
our 30s. Yeah,
Mhm.
so that we can live up to our 80s now is a big part of that is what that we owe, that we have created clean cities, but
Yeah.
somebody must clean this, go out and clean the city. Yeah. So so we so this is our these
Yeah.
are all the small important jobs, and it's not only about different kind of jobs and roles within societies, also about the small and unimportant jobs within your own life. Yeah, so
Mhm.
maybe some parts of your life you have to play the big role, and you have to really drive things forward, but at the same time you have to care about small things in your life. Yeah, so also within your life you have the big important roles and the small unimportant roles, but the big important roles cannot play their part if there are the small important roles as well. Yeah. So, and we need to
Mhm.
rediscover a different kind of respect, I think.
But Tim, why is it that way? I mean, in other cultures like Japan, for example, they really adore the older elderly. They in Osaka, for example, they learn from them the wisdom for having a longevity. They have also in UK the thankfulness for somebody who's cleaning the street and cleaning the waste the case waste boxes. And here, in a lot of other countries, we don't see this anymore in this respect. Often, the respect is even seen as a weakness.
Yes.
What happened there? What is this? Is this just the majority of money? Why have we lost the values? Is it because we lost the traditions, the links to religion, to church?
I'm an atheist, so that's not that's not for me the right approach. But I think it's every. I don't know if we have lost this. Yeah, we invented ideas like fairness and
Hmm.
equality and freedom, and so with French Revolution and other stuff. And those ideas are meant to stay. Yeah, so they will not die. Yeah, so
Hmm.
at the moment, we see a global power grab from very rich people,
Yeah,
and a
that's
very
right.
small group of very rich people. And this is, yeah, if you look into the history of the Republican right wing group of the Republican Party, they are talking about this. What's now happening for now 60 years or whatever. Yeah, so it's
Hmm.
was a public it's public knowledge. Yeah, not everybody knows this, but it's public knowledge. You can go to their web server, look through their own documents. Yeah, so
Yeah.
what they did for conferences in the 80s last century. Yeah, so and they
Hmm.
were talking about this, that they need to change the world. They wanted to break up the duopolistic world into a multipolistic world because it's it's for the economy out from their perspective it's better. Yeah, so
Hmm.
and in the end, there's an interesting thing behind this. The US is not driven by evil. Yeah, so they are driven by a great idea of freedom and responsibility. Yeah, and nowadays we see that their values are a little bit, or maybe a little bit more than a little bit over exaggerated and misused. Yeah,
Hmm.
the idea of freedom doesn't exclude the idea of community, the idea of and the idea of let's say progress. Yeah, does not exclude the idea of empathy. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so and this is now a hard time for some people. Yeah, and
Yes.
but I'm on the one hand side, discovering the future's beauty. Yeah, my my driving force. Yeah, so on the one hand side, we can show the world as Europeans. We can show the world how community works. We can show the world how freedom works and empathy. We can show the world how major driving forces can work and let's say we can that you can build on them something and they empower each other. Yeah, do
Hmm.
not have to decide for empathy or progress. Yeah, you can have more progress using empathy and vice versa. Yeah, and
Hmm.
this is something we can really build upon, but we have to do it and we have to talk about it. So great that we're doing this today.
So I'm happy to continue talking with Tim, one of the youngest professors and one of the youngest entrepreneurs who is now being with us in France. So it's a three countries radio show today, UK, Germany, and France. And we started talking about society. We started talking about values and why this time is so difficult, on the other hand, so challenging. And for people who are risk taker, maybe one of the best times ever. Um, where others are doubting and yeah, because of being frightened, because of crises or anything around us. And Tim is one of the people who is a risk taker. And he's one of the people who's not just a risk taker, but who's standing for that is worthwhile and really making sense to be that. So Tim, I'm very happy to have you. You've built multiple ventures and initiatives, and very important ones. What was a defining moment when you realized you wanted to shape the digital world?
Yes, on the one hand side, when I was a kid, like when I was like 12 or whatever, I uh, I the story of Asterix and Obelix, the two Galician funny guys. Yeah. So and
Yes.
Obelix, when he was a child, he was thrown into the trunk of the with the magic sauce. Yeah. So and and as a kid, I was by accident. I don't know how this happened. I fell into the box of digitization. Yeah, I had my first computer, and I really wanted to understand how this works. And I always was restless. I always was very driven by curiosity, and so I spent days and nights to figure out how this computer thing might work. Yeah, so the hardware side, the software side, the network side, and
Hmm.
whatever. Yeah, so and I'm not an IT guy. Yeah, so I'm more. It's more. I'm more driven by general curiosity. Yeah, so and this was my first, just like let's say my first big topic I wanted to understand. Yeah, so and and so by accident, just driven by just less my restlessness, my curiosity. Um, I discovered when I was around 16, 17 that that was a surprise for me that I knew more about this digital IT stuff than most people around me. And then somebody asked me, "Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that?" Okay, yeah, sure, I help. And then after a while, somebody asked me, "Hey, I have my cousin who runs the company, and they are searching a guy like you, but they are searching a guy like in the 30s, but they don't find. You're now 17. You might want to talk to them." Yeah, and I was so, and I talked to them, and they like, "Oh, we are looking for a guy like you," and then I realized this is something worth, yeah, and I started my venturing experience it was by accident, yeah. So and and I'm very thankful for this situation back then in the 90s, yeah. So and because of a lack of talented people in that area, when I was 18, I was the responsible for like the concepts, the realization, the user interface, the programming, the database of the multinational company as a client to open up their online business, to invent their online business. And I knew nothing about that when I started. I just thought, well, I can find it out. You give me some money, and I work day and night and find out how to do it because there was no other one available to do this. Yeah. So
Right.
and so I invented it on the fly to go and did it, and yeah, and we were successful with that. And but as I said before, I'm not an IT guy. I love technology because I think technology brings, if we do it right, it will bring a lot of solutions for humanity's problems. But also interested in people. Yeah. So and then I turned to design and to sociology and to psychology and I dove into that. Yeah. So and so that the long answer for a short question is there was not a single defining moment, but there was over a decade some accidents happening over a decade that drove me to what I'm now, and that shaped me. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, I think you have an attitude or a kind of yeah, ground in your lying skill set, which which are so different than the ones of others. Or you have a good awakening skill set, let's say like that. Um, what personal experience have shaped your perspective on empowerment in total, but also in the digital age? What was it?
Yeah, in the digital world, I think the idea of wikis and collaborative software was born in the mid 90s. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the first version of the, yeah, long before Wikipedia. Yeah, so but the idea
Mm-hmm.
of the wiki and the first software. So and I saw this. I just saw this software and I saw immediately like, oh, what's possible here? Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
and everybody globally can work collaboratively, share knowledge, and this is an immense driver of can be an immense driver of progress, of understanding, of and also of efficiency. Yeah, so and um, and and this is the melting point, or this is the contact point between people and technology, the wiki, yeah, the idea of the wiki. And then a couple of years later, the blog was invented, and like and then so this was a more editorial structure of also of making the most out of the possibilities of the internet. And I was very enthusiastic. I really believed that we were heading into a world of freedom of knowledge, of shared community, of a global knowledge community. And so turned out in some areas this became true, and in some areas we still have some way to go. Yeah, so but I was driven by this completely optimistic, over optimistic vision of that technology can unite humanity in education and in understanding about each other and driving progress for humanity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's of course great. Um, I mean, what one's lesson you learned the hard way but wouldn't want to miss?
Yeah, I I learned the hard way several times in my life how important mutual trusted situation is. Yeah, and how important it is um, to live up to your own values. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
your values might differ from mine, but if we live up to our mutual values and we agree and of them and we honest with them and share them with each other, then we know what to expect and how to handle each other and how to work with each other, and then we can create something that's bigger than us. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
and this is something I in the heat of the moment, in the stressful situations where I was not able to live up to that idea. Yeah, and that really every time that really I ended up not in a not good situation. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
this is a learning, and I try to optimize this from from year to year, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
but in stressful situations, you are maybe so much focused on something and not, and you're missing other parts. And yeah, that's that's normal. That's natural. That's how humans function. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but if you step back, if you take this small amount of time to step back and refocus uh, and see the big picture, and then things become more and more easy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and yeah, this is a struggle of my own. I think my personal struggle is really we have a German word. It's called Urvertrauen. It's difficult to translate into French or into
Yeah,
English.
that's
We have to
right.
make a sentence to explain it. Yeah. So Urvertrauen is the most basic trust you can have into the world, into a situation, into another person.
Yeah.
And and this is like the the conditions of success for me in my life. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to care about Urvertrauen in my connections. And every time I did it right, I ended up very well. And every time I was not managing that so much, I ended up in a bad situation. Yeah, so
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, but this is my personal, this is my recipe, yeah, for the Tim recipe, yeah. So, and of course, other people are different and have another recipe for them, yeah. So,
That's right. I mean, my recipe is never give up until I've finished. And
yeah,
whatever it takes, whatever time
yes,
it
whatever
takes,
it takes, yeah,
whatever money it takes, whatever it takes.
yeah,
Sometimes it takes a bit more time. Sometimes it takes a second run. Sometimes it takes another strategy, other
yes.
people, other team, whatever. But I
Sometimes
never,
it takes 20 night shifts in a row, yeah. So
yeah,
I've
I
been
mean,
there, done that, yeah.
my PhD is a good sample for that. I mean, I'm not sure if you know that I started my PhD in my first semester because I got a special test and I had the highest grade. And then I said, oh, if you want, you can start your PhD. I said, ah, great. And then it ended up with a professor who had to go into prison because of sexual harassment, and
Oh,
we all voted against him. And then I thought, oh my God, what is this for a bad situation? And
yeah.
he was really a number in his area.
Mm.
So all other PhD candidates, they stop with that and they never finish this. But I said to myself, I finish latest in 10 years. And I finished at latest on it 10 years later, exactly
Yeah.
10 years later. And it was really the celebration of me and my own style of, yes, as I said, in that way, the animal style.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think this is very important. Yeah. We are all shaped by something different. Of course,
Yes.
I strongly believe, in our research shows this, humanity has more in common when we think. Yeah. But
Mhm.
what makes you different makes you different. Yeah. And this is something that's special only to you. And
Mhm.
and we are often too much driven by, let's say, very generalized ideas. Yeah. So,
Or
like, you have to
stereotypes.
do it by stereotypes. You have to do it that way. You have to do it this way. This is
Yeah.
how things work. Of course, yes, society provides patterns, and
Hmm.
sometimes they are the easy way to fill in,
Yeah.
but you have to find your own way to use those societal patterns. Yeah. So, and if you know about your weaknesses, if you know about your strengths, if you reflect with yourself, you can make things easier for you. Yeah, for sure. And this is true
Hmm.
for a child learning in school, and this is true for a CEO. And for both, it can be really difficult. Yeah. Um, yeah. When we are talking to top level executives,
Hmm.
they have a hard time to get really real true feedback. So
Yeah.
they're living in a world of mirrors. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's
That's
hard
true.
for them to, maybe sometimes I think the CEO is the one person in the company who knows the least
Hmm.
upon what's going on.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely
Because
right.
nobody is talking the truth to him. Everybody is having this little thing in mind, consciously or unconsciously, and filtering through politics, filtering through expectations, filtering through, yeah, through preconceptions. Yeah. So
Exactly.
um, so and helping here, my mission here is condition of success there is opening the trust bridge, yeah, so that you can talk freely. This is hard. This is really hard. Yeah. But once you've managed this, a new world opens. Yeah.
That's absolutely right, and great that you share this with us. If you could teach one skill in every school worldwide, what would it be?
Oh,
No matter
one
how.
is really hard.
Okay, two.
All right, I think there seems to be a negotiation about the number of skills, but yes, I think for me the one skill is responsible freedom. Yeah,
Hmm.
so the in maybe there's um, I was thinking about this when I was researching about the history of Europe, and we were in a discussion with a strategic in a strategic project about what makes Europe strong in this new world. what Europe can bring in with it on it on its out of its own history or the European DNA.
Mhm.
And you know when we found this analogy to describe this, yeah, and this is Europe was born, or when you imagine Europe as a child born like 1,280 years ago, yeah, whatever, yeah. So and when a child is born, you are completely dependent on your parents, yeah. So you start your life with 100% dependency. Then you move on to counter dependence. That's puberty. Yeah. So counter dependence, you fight with your parents, you have to find the difference. Yeah. So that's natural life. Yeah. So
Yes.
then you move out. That's where you learn to be independent.
Mhm.
Yeah. But then there's the fourth step. The fourth step is about becoming part of society. And this is the most major level of dependency, that's interdependency. That is the balance between freedom and responsibility. And I think in Europe, we have the potential with our complex system to do that. We know how to do it culturally. We are doing
Yes.
it. We are not doing it right now, but we could do it.
We could do it.
We
Oh.
could do it. And yeah, so, and I think this is a skill I think we as Europeans and I as Tim love to share. Yeah. So this
Right.
idea of interdependency with each other. So responsible freedom. Yeah.
Thank you so, so much. And I wish we have one further hour together. We don't have. But if you could leave one final message to the next generation of digital leaders, what would it be?
Yeah, strive for the greater good, strive for the big picture. Yeah, don't get sucked up into the small details and Excel sheets. Yeah, so skip the executive summary. Yeah, care about the real thing. Um, uh, Throw yourself into complexity. Embrace complexity. Don't fight it. Yeah, and always, yeah, we have, especially in Germany, especially in Europe, we know how to do the small things. We have to learn how to do the small things and at the same time align them to achieve the big things.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Tim. Thank you for this engaging discussion and inspiring insights you gave us. I'll look forward to our ongoing exchange and the impact we will continue to make together the world a better place.
Great. That sounds good.
So after the commercial break, we'll continue with the introduction of an inspiring book that we've selected for you. Thank you and stay tuned.